a structure. Circle, persons grouped around a center of interest. An unbroken sequence of reciprocal cause and effect. An action and reaction that intensify each other. Circle, 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 circle. 24 hours, a period of cycle. A period of cycle. 24 hours, no beginning, no end. Channel 4 from tonight. Timeless.
Nigel, it's starting.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free the wretched dreadfulness of your teeming children.
Get the snowplow out tonight. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Green Bay. So do the 49ers. Play the Packers. And it's off to North Carolina for our main game. The defending champions Dallas against the Panthers, who are making their playoff debut. We've got the AFC covered too, as Jacksonville follow their upset win over Buffalo with an even tougher test in Denver. And Pittsburgh, looking to reach the Super Bowl for the second year running, travel to New England to face the Patriots. Good evening from Green Bay, where I'm reliably informed it never rains in January. Tonight, the Green Bay Packers, the Super Bowl favourites, enter the playoffs, and they'll be up against their usual twin opponents, the visiting team and the select 11 of celebrity ghosts from Lambeau Field's glorious past. The Packers' phenomenal success in the 60s, when Vince Lombardi coached them to victories in Super Bowls 1 and 2, has haunted every Packers team since, and the pressure on the current squad to be the first for 28 years to lift the trophy with their old coach's name on it has been building since training camp. To do it, they have to get past San Francisco, a team they faced at this stage of last year's playoffs, but in different circumstances. 12 months ago, the Packers went into San Francisco as underdogs and knocked the defending champions out of the playoffs, almost literally.
There's only one way to play football. How is it?
What rankles even more with the 49ers is their overtime defeat at Lambeau Field earlier this season, a loss they blamed on bad calls by the officials and their own coaches. To avoid defeat number 3, San Francisco have to contain number 4. Green Bay quarterback Brett Favre has just picked up his second NFL Most Valuable Player award. Steve Young, by contrast, picked up yet another injury last week, and he'll need painkillers and special padding on his badly bruised ribs just to start the game. Well, Withers flown in at huge expense to the 49ers is their former running back Roger Craig. Roger, the last time we worked together was the divisional round last year when the Packers won at 3Com Park. Do you think last year's game and the one earlier this year will have any bearing today?
I think the Packers are motivated all year to be in the Super Bowl. I mean, they worked hard, I mean, to get to this point. They're focused. I listened to a lot of the interviews from Brett Favre and everyone. You could just see it. They kind of remind me of the 1980s when we played, you know, and they know what they want. But on the other hand, the 49ers are a team that you can't just overlook. We're really experienced in the playoffs. Jerry Rice, Steve Young, we all know what it takes to get the job done as far as going to the next level. The field condition is going to be a big part, going to play a big part on both teams. I think it's the teams who make the least mistakes are going to come out on top, because I think they're evenly matched right now.
Give us the inside word on Steve Young. He took that hit last week. He's wearing a thicker flak jacket. Do you think he'll survive the game?
Well, you know, Steve Young's ribs are really sore. I talked to him earlier this morning. Hopefully he doesn't get hit on the ribs. He's going to probably take some Novocaine shots to numb it up so he can play. But when it's out here in this cold weather, you know, you can feel everything. So hopefully we can protect him and keep the major hits from him so he can survive the game. If not, Elvis Gerback has had a great week of practice. He's looking forward to just coming in and doing a good job for the team.
On the other side of the ball, though, you've got Brett Favre, who succeeded Steve Young as the MVP. He's healthy. Most of his receivers are healthy. It's going to be difficult to stop him.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult to stop these guys. What we have to do is just go out and just play heads-up football and just, you know, don't let Brett Favre get into a rhythm, because if he gets into a rhythm, we're in trouble.
Now, word about the conditions before we go to the game. The Packers were hoping for snow and ice to enhance the home field advantage. As you can see, it's more like the soggy conditions that the 49ers won in last week. The Packers are just coming out. Let's go to the game.
We might as well. Everyone else had. There were only 3 unused tickets for this game, and they were travelling fans stuck at the airport. The 49ers won the toss, and they have the ball at their own 20 to start the game. The commentators are Dick Stockton and Matt Millen.
Split backs on first down. Rolling out is Young. No one to throw to, and he goes out of bounds after a gain of about 4. Brian Williams chased him out of bounds. Rice in motion, and the handoff is to Terry Kirby. And Kirby gets about a yard. Will bring up 3rd and about 5.
Because of Steve Young's rib injury, you're going to have to protect him. I mean, they're not going to want to get him out of that pocket. And so the interior offensive line is huge today, specifically because obviously you don't want Young to get hurt. And then they have to be able to run the football. They are not a physical offensive line, and they're going against a defensive front that is very physical.
And as you said, Young has been their best runner. 3rd down and 5. Kirby in motion. Young flips it to Jerry Rice, and Rice is hit hard immediately by George Klutz, and the 49ers will have to punt.
You know, Dick, if you listen to Howie Long in our pregame show, what you just saw is what he said would happen. Because Steve Young has injected those ribs and the field is bad, they're going to have to throw short. And so I think the Packers will play them for the short passing game.
Desmond Howard, who led the NFL in punt returns and returned 3 for touchdowns, will receive Tommy Thompson's kick. And a good kick, considering the conditions, by Thompson. Howard at the 29. Desmond Howard into 49er territory, and Desmond Howard may go all the way. There are no flags down. Touchdown, Green Bay. 71 yards.
You know, Dick, this return, the first thing, Bernardo Harris right here gets a nice block on 57, Randy Kirk. But then I want you to watch Desmond Howard. This is pure confidence. He knows his game. He made 3 guys miss, and then it was just the magic of Lambeau into the end. But he didn't do it without some help. I mean, you have to be able to get people blocked. Watch Curtis Buckley. They just absolutely abuse him. Everybody's taking shots at him. Now you have to let him back up. That would be considered holding. They throw him back down, then they keep on pounding him, and it doesn't stop there.
And the kick is good.
Desmond Howard's 4th punt return for a touchdown this season, and it was 7-0 Green Bay. Sadly for San Francisco, this was about as mobile as Steve Young got, jogging to the locker room to see a man about a hypodermic. So after an exchange of punts, the 49ers, as predicted by Roger Craig, are going to the man who had the good week of practice. Here's their 3rd possession. They're at their own 11.
So Elvis Grbac has come in at quarterback for the 49ers, and he hands off to William Floyd. And nothing there. No gain on the play. Grbac has played only 2 of the last 6 games for the 49ers, but those were his numbers in Week 7 against the Packers, where he threw 2 touchdown passes and actually played well despite the fact they lost the game.
Yeah, he's played well every time he's been in there. I mean, they have a great amount of confidence in Elvis Grbac, but some things change when Grbac is in the game, specifically with your offensive line.
Right, and also in the game, Matt, Adrian Cooper, Brent Jones on the sidelines now. 2nd and 8, Kirby, not much there, and that'll bring up 3rd down and long.
And you see the guy right down there in the middle of all that stuff is Gilbert Brown, number 93. You know, I mentioned about Howie Long. Howie Long could always appreciate a good nose tackle or inside man, because everything on your defense works from the inside out. You get a guy who's playing as well as Gilbert Brown is right now, you solidify the middle. You solidify the middle of your defense, you got a shot everywhere else.
And Brown and, of course, Santana Dotson really solidified the tackle positions for the Packers this year. Brings up a 3rd down and 3. 3 wide receivers for the 49ers. Gerback flips it out. Terry Kirby making a good play, but nothing doing.
That's a great play.
Simmons.
Wayne Simmons played that perfectly. You can't do it any better than that. See, Simmons came out. Remember last year in this game,
he played a big game.
He was the player of the game. Watch Wayne Simmons. First thing in the screen, you have to beat the guy in front of you always. And so you beat Jesse Sapolo first, then you make the tackle.
That was a career game for Wayne Simmons a year ago in the playoff in San Francisco. So now Desmond Howard back deep again, and Tommy Thompson kicking from inside the 5. And a good kick by Thompson. And Howard gets into 49er territory. And here's Desmond Howard again with one man to beat.
Unbelievable.
Desmond Howard gets tripped up at the 10-yard line. And preventing the touchdown was Frankie Smith. Smith prevents a touchdown after the 46-yard return by Howard.
There's a certain amount of confidence, I talked about it earlier, when you get on a roll and you think, not only as a returner, but as a return team, that you can do no wrong. The Green Bay Packers are feeling that right now. I was fortunate enough to have played with 2 great returners. Tim Brown, when I was at the Raiders, was as good as they came. There's a lot of Tim Brown and Desmond Howard. They have the great confidence. They think they can make any play.
Now the Packers with a 1st and goal at the 7. Edgar Bennett gets inside the 5-yard line, and in quickly was Bryant Young and Gary Plummer.
Well, you know, we talk about Gilbert Brown on one side of the ball, but then you look at the San Francisco defense, you talk about securing the middle. That's as secure as it gets in the National Football League. Bryant Young, 97, Dana Stubblefield, 94. They're the key to that defense. I mean, they have been since since Young was drafted and teamed up with him.
One seems to feed off the other. 2nd and goal. Packers were 2nd in red zone offense this year. Favre throws. Andre Rison makes the catch for the touchdown.
I want you to watch how he gets his touchdown. You see all this stuff? You see how long it's taking to develop? You know what that tells you on the front side? Favre had time to throw the ball. And then that kind of pattern plays perfectly into what Rison does.
And Chris Jackie's extra point is good.
The first quarter ended with the Packers 2 touchdowns up. And although Gerback was playing reasonably well, his receivers were letting him down. Here he drops the perfect pass into Terrell Owens, who then drops the perfect pass. At least that one went harmlessly out of bounds, though, unlike this one.
And the pass intercepted by Newsome on a deflection. Fumbled, he fumbles, and the scramble begins. And it appears to be Green Bay's ball.
We have an interception by the defense. Fumbled on the return, recovered by the defense. 1st and down, Green Bay.
San Francisco's George Seifert looked like the ref sounded as the Packers took the turnover and made it 21-0 on Edgar Bennett's 2-yard run. The 49ers tried to reply with a drive inside the last 2 minutes of the half, but had to punt again.
Howard is going to let it roll.
Oh, that could be a fumble right there. That man hit Lamont Hollingquist 56, and if it did, that's a fumble and 49ers football.
They're indicating that it's their ball, and Chris Hayes and Hollingquist was over, and it's San Francisco ball. A break for the 49ers.
And look who got it, Curtis Buckley, the guy who had gotten abused earlier. Now watch, it's a bad kick, so you start yelling, get away, and it right there.
It hit him on the back of the foot. And it was Hayes.
It was Hayes.
And Buckley recovered.
So finally a punt goes the 49ers' way, and they look to capitalize.
And this pass is caught at the 15-yard line, and that'll be a 1st down. Jerry Rice with an 11-yard catch. And a play fake. Gerback looking for help, and he flips it to Kirby, and it's a touchdown. Terry Kirby with the touchdown catch, and the 49ers get on the board, taking advantage of the Green Bay turnover.
Still down 14 at half-time. The 49ers needed a big play early in the 3rd quarter. And they got it when Desmond Howard came out of the locker room too late to return the kickoff.
Andre Rison has gone back to join Beebe. And the kick bounces past Beebe. And the chasing.
Oh, that's a huge play. That's 6 points, boys.
Israel is down at the 2-yard line. Steve Israel with a great hustle play, and Andre Rison is shaken up.
That's a monster play. Now, I'm mistaken. That can't be a touchdown. You can't return it. Yeah. Now watch Beebe. He thinks he's going to try to come up and get this, which is the right thing to do. It gets through him, and then Rison tries to get over here, but a tremendous hustle play by Israel, and he picks that thing up, and that's going to be 1st and goal for the 49ers.
Jerry Rice lines up wide right. And now the clock is working. The 25-second clock is in motion. Handoff, fake. And on a bootleg, Elvis Gerback will walk into the end zone for the touchdown.
Great call. That was a great call. They had everything bite on that fake. And then Terrell Owens had a nice block on Doug Evans, had him to the back of the end zone. Gerback, heck, he could have skipped on in there. Watch everybody bite. Look at everybody draws right inside. Nobody out there. Goes right around Sean Jones.
And the touchdown makes it 21-13, and Elvis Gerback and the 49er offense getting a lot more confidence. But of course the turnovers on the special teams plays pivotal for San Francisco's comeback attempt. And now Jeff Wilkins for the extra point. And the kick is good, and it is now 21-14.
Uncomfortably close for the home fans, but Green Bay took the momentum right back with a long drive.
Edgar Bennett breaks one and gets close to midfield, and a first down and more, a pickup of 13 yards for Edgar Bennett, having an outstanding day. Favre fires, and the pass is caught by Freeman inside the 10. 3rd down and goal, and Edgar Bennett loses the ball. There's a fumble in the end zone.
That's either a touchdown or a touchback.
Well, Favre thinks the Packers have the touchdown.
Well, they're not going to believe it till the officials give it.
They gave it. And I think it was Antonio Freeman on the bottom of that pile who recovered the fumble for the Green Bay touchdown.
And the first thing you're going to notice that they're winning the line of scrimmage battle. Look at how San Francisco's going backwards. And then there comes Edgar Bennett. The ball pops up in the air right there. And there's the scramble.
That was all the scoring for the 3rd quarter. The 49ers drove inside the Packers 20 to start the 4th.
Here is Floyd, and he is tripped up. Fumble! And the Packers may have it. Brian Williams may have it, yes. Wait for the official signal. If the Packers have it, it's Brian Williams who alertly made the recovery.
There are more battles going on for fumbles today.
Fumble recovered by Green Bay. First down.
On a surface like a chocolate brownie, though, the Packers couldn't move the ball and had to punt.
What a kick. What a great kick by Craig Hentrick. And here is Kirby bringing it back. And he does a bad job. Fumbles it, and it's recovered by Chris Hayes.
Looks like Bernardo Harris put the lick on him, number 55.
From there, Green Bay finished the 49ers off with the one weapon they lacked, a running game.
2nd and 8, Edgar Bennett gets by one defender. Edgar Bennett drives, touchdown, Packers. On the 30th anniversary of their first Super Bowl championship, it'll be win number 17 in a row at Lambeau, and the Packers will move on to the title game in the NFC.
So Green Bay are in the championship game, and I'm joined by 2 great running backs for the finish, Roger Craig and his friend Edgar Bennett. Edgar, you could really run the ball today. Was that the difference in the game?
I think it was. We gave our defense a chance to catch their breath, keeping San Francisco's offense off the field.
And Roger, what did you make of his running performance today? Pretty good.
He took a page from my book. I sent him a workout tape. Yeah, he knows about how I trained and everything. So I'm just happy to see him that he's keeping the tradition going, you know, with the all-purpose running.
Edgar, quickly, the whole crowd shouting for Dallas. Would you rather have them here than the Panthers for revenge purposes?
I want to play Dallas. I want to play Dallas.
Well, we'll see later in the show whether they get Dallas. First, though, we're going to go inside and get some more reaction.
Everything is kind of like a blur. You know, I remember seeing 33 on my right, so I wanted to cut up inside him. Then I saw 50, number 50, and I made a move to my left on him. And at that point, it was nothing but the punter that I remember, and you know, it was just race to the goal line.
And whether you want to believe it or not, you know, we've gotten to what we've gotten because I think the Lord has really blessed us, and we've done a good job focusing, and we've got some good players on this team, and we've got some great guys on this team, and I'm enjoying it.
I believe you, Reggie.
I know you do.
So what we have to do is we have to take stock of what we've done, and we have to rebuild and look at the areas where we're, where we're suspect, and we'll be back. We've gone through this before. We went through it in '87. Everybody said we were dead and we were too old. We went through it again. We'll be fine.
So Green Bay will have home field advantage for the NFC Championship game next week, if they still have a home field left, that is, and they will face the winners of the Dallas-Carolina game. And we'll have that for you after this break.
As the UK's #1, Lambeau give more discounts on more holidays than any other travel agent. Lambeau, a better way to get away.
I hate queues. So, what's this? Can I go to the front? I've got to get my brass hand fixed. Excuse me, I couldn't get through this while you're reading your paper, could I? Can I come through at the front, please? No. Oh, go on. I couldn't come through at the front, could I, please? It's a bit circular, the queue here, isn't it? Do you want to come down the front, anyone? It's easy. It's queues, 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 queues.
Excuse me, you don't mind if I push in, do you?
Yeah. You don't mind me pushing in, do you?
Yeah, I do.
You don't mind me going before you, do you?
No.
20 packs of chips, please. Yeah, I hate queues, me, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Would you like a chip?
Oh, yes, please.
Relax, relax. Empty your mind of everyday stress, Sit back and enjoy our therapy session. Sit back and enjoy our therapy session. For a longer session, call 0990 200 200.
Jersey. There's 150 miles of winding country lanes. Jersey, the cream of holidays.
0800 66 9900.
Come on, Luke, tell us another one.
Okay. So, a man walks into a bar.
Hey, whose house is this? Whose house? Whose house? Panther Pride on 3. 1, 2, 3. Panther Pride!
They're a house-proud lot, you know, the Carolina Panthers, and it's your lookout if you get in the way while they're doing the vacuuming. Since they moved into Ericsson Stadium here at the start of this season, the Panthers haven't lost a single home game. Now they have to try to extend that record into their first ever playoff game against the team that's played and won more than any other in the postseason, the Dallas Cowboys. Mind you, it's not the Cowboys' playoff record. It's been attracting all the attention this week.
Another week, another scandal in Dallas. Star receiver Michael Irvin and tackle Eric Williams accused of sexual assault by a 23-year-old woman.
I don't know anything about anything. I'm going to say again, like I said last time, I haven't done anything in any way, shape, or form to violate my probation. And also, I am tired of it. I'm tired of it all.
Through a season that's been one tabloid exclusive after another, the one constant for the Cowboys has been their #1 ranked defense. And they'll be relying on it today to rattle the Panthers' young quarterback, Kerry Collins, who's starting the first playoff game of his career. Collins, though, has matured fast this season. He has plenty of playoff experience around him. 12 players on the Carolina team know what it's like to play in a Super Bowl. Cornerback Eric Davis came over from San Francisco to help the Panthers relieve his old team of their NFC West title. And Collins' favourite target, Wesley Walls, is another former 49er. The Panthers' blitz-happy defense, meanwhile, is led by Kevin Green, who went last year with Pittsburgh.
Joining us for this one, as usual for Cowboys games, is former Dallas receiver Drew Pearson. And Drew, it wouldn't be right to speculate about a case in which no one's even been charged yet, but are the Cowboys, or at least some members of them, a team out of control?
Well, I think so. But the whole thing is, the key thing you said is it's not all the team. It's just a certain amount of guys, and it's really hurt the team as far as the distraction in their preparation. But one thing this team has learned to do through the course of this season is handle distractions and stay focused at the same time. We'll see if they can do it one more time.
And this latest one came on the heels of their best performance of the season, perhaps, when the big three, Aikman, Smith, and Irvin, all came up big.
Yeah, and that's what's unfortunate, because they come off of a good victory, a victory that boosted the confidence of the team, and all of a sudden they pick up the paper on Monday morning, and now they got controversy to deal with. So they got to try to overcome that, but they need to get this game again from the big three, the triplets, Troy, Emmett, and Michael. They need a big game from those guys.
How do you see the battle between the offensive line of Dallas, who had a great game against the Vikings, giving up the fewest sacks in the league, against the Panthers defense, which has had the most sacks in the league? Something's got to give there.
Yeah, no question about it. This is the key to the game, what happens in the trenches, because both teams pride themselves on the work that they do with their offense and defensive lines. If Cowboys can pick up the blitzes and stop Kevin Green and Lamar Lathan from putting that pressure on Troy Aikman on the outside, then I think the Cowboys can run up the gut and also get their passes off. But at the same time, the Panthers want to try to put that pressure, and they're going to use more speed and quickness to try to combat the Cowboys' weight advantage and size.
Quickly, the Panthers are an experienced team, even though they're young, but the one man who doesn't have the playoff experience is Kerry Collins. How do you think he'll handle it?
I think he'll do okay. He's not seasoned in the NFL, but he's seasoned in big games coming from Penn State. He's played in a lot of big games. What the Cowboys are going to try to do is force him to make decisions to try to determine the outcome of the game. The Cowboys want to put the game in his hands. What the Panthers want to do is get their running game going and try to keep Kerry Collins from making the play to win the football game. If they can keep their running game going, it'll help take a lot of pressure off Kerry Collins.
Incidentally, we saw what Desmond Howard did for the Green Bay Packers in their game. In this game, you have the top two kick returners in the league, Michael Bates for the Panthers and Herschel Walker for the Cowboys. Here it is then, Dallas against Carolina for the right to play Green Bay in the NFC Championship.
Well, Panthers head coach Dom Capers put his offense out to start the game, and the Cowboys jumped right on Kerry Collins. Darren Woodson with a brilliant piece of anticipation to intercept him on the 5th play of the game. That gave the Cowboys possession at their own 47-yard line.
Aikman gets rid of it to Irvin. Irvin stays on his feet. Run down by Lamar Lathan.
A big gain for Dallas, but an even bigger loss as it turned out. If you watch the replay, you'll see Michael Irvin gets blindsided by Lamar Lathan and driven into the turf. The result was a broken collarbone and the end of the game for the Cowboys' controversial leading receiver. Still, they drove down to the 1 before Carolina's swarming defense got swarmed up and stopped Emmitt Smith, forcing Dallas to settle for a field goal. We pick up the action after the kickoff now. It's Carolina's ball at their own 32.
Anthony Johnson.
Yeah, this so far has been a typical Dallas game. Real strong defense. They get a turnover. Then their offense gets the ball, gets good field position, moves it pretty well, but again, gets down inside that red zone and can't score a touchdown. They're having more and more trouble. They used to run it in there, and you know, and part of it may be passing to Jay Novacek, but they can't run it in when they get down there anymore. They're stacking up against the run.
That's pretty much happened all around the league. Here's Collins back to throw. Almost picked off by Kevin Smith. Intended for Carrier.
You know, that was one of the things that Dom Capers said. He said that we have to be able to run the ball and we have to win the battles on the outside. And these are the battles on the outside that he's talking about that they have to win. Kevin Smith won that battle. Earlier on a third down, it was Darren Woodson who won a battle against Mark Carrier with the interception.
3rd and 9. 3 wide receivers for Carolina. Here comes a Dallas blitz, and Collins is lucky he got rid of this one. And flags on the play.
Yep, they got Kevin Smith that time.
Kevin Smith. They're going to talk this one over. That one was not catchable, I know. Collins was just trying to throw it away.
But I still think that the guy can't grab him when the ball's in the air.
They're going to talk it over. They did.
have 2 fouls on the defense. Holding, number 26, is declined. Pass interference, number 26, is accepted.
You got them both.
Down.
Yeah, what they're saying is the holding would be right here in the first 5 yards. If he holds before the ball's in the air. You see the hold is right there, they're saying. The ball hasn't been thrown yet. Now the pass interference is there after the ball's thrown. So if you do it before the ball's thrown, it's holding. If you do it while the ball is in the air, it's pass interference.
Carolina in a shift, and the Dallas defense is confused for a moment. And Collins is back to throw. The stop fade is complete. Throw it behind him on purpose.
And they threw another flag.
Another penalty back at midfield.
And it was right there where Tony Casillas was right next to Kerry Collins. But that's one of the things that we were just talking about. Dom Capers said he had to do is win some battles out there, throw at Kevin Smith, and they're doing it. This is against the Cowboys. It's going to be against Tony Casillas.
It's a big one.
Unnecessary roughness. That's what it is.
The pass was caught, and they'll tack this on to the end.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 75 on the defense. First down.
Against Casillas.
Yeah, because Casillas was standing right there again by Kerry Collins after he threw that ball.
Anthony Johnson taken down by Darren Woodson inside the 10-yard line.
You know, we were talking to Dom Capers the other day. On this drive, he's doing the 2 things that he talked about. Is one, you know, throwing to the outside, winning some battles out there, throwing at Kevin Smith, and hoping to either catch the ball or to get a pass interference. They've done both on this drive, and then be able to run the ball.
2nd and 7. They can make a first down without scoring. Collins has Anthony Johnson deep. He comes out of there in motion. Collins. Ball was bouncing around. Carrier made the catch, and he held on long enough.
You knew that that one had to be a pass because there was no one in the backfield. Carrier's going to line up tight here, and he just comes right in here on a slant. You see there's no one in the backfield. There's Carrier right there coming on a slant. Collins hits him perfectly. Here's Carrier here. You see he's just going to come up, boom, take the step right in there. The minute that he gets behind the linebacker, in front of the linebacker, Darren Smith, then he hits him.
First and goal. And here's Collins. Pass, a diving catch by Wesley Walls. Touchdown, Carolina.
Kerry Collins got so excited because Wesley Walls was so wide open, he darn near took too much mustard off it.
He could have done just about anything.
Where do the Cowboys buy this fake? Watch the fake to the left. Here comes a bootleg. There's no one out there. Wesley Walls is so wide open that Kerry Collins darn near didn't get it to him.
And Wesley Walls made a heck of a catch.
That's when you try and aim it instead of throw it.
Aim or throw, it was definitely a touchdown, and the Carolina defense followed up their goal line stand with one at the Dallas 20. Nose tackle Les Miller got the sack, and after the punt, the Panthers took over at the Cowboys 42.
Here's Collins back to throw. Caught by Walls. 3rd and 9. Collins, quick throw. Pass caught by Willie Green. Johnson is deep. Collins is deep. And he'll have enough. 3rd and goal into 10. Here's Collins. The pass is caught. Touchdown, Willie Green.
Collins was nearly perfect on that scoring drive. And the last pass was the best. I'm not sure whether he aimed it or threw it, but with tight coverage in the end zone, he put the ball where only Willie Green could catch it to make the score 14-3. Here's the Cowboys' next drive now. They're at their own 39.
Pitch back to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt just crosses the 40 and picks up a couple at the most. Sam Mills.
Isn't that Sam Mills something? I mean, 37 years old. This guy has been told all his life that he's been too small. He's only 5'7", 5'8", weighs 230 pounds. You know, played in the USFL, played all those years with New Orleans Saints.
He's the oldest guy ever picked for the Pro Bowl, other than a kicker, for a starting spot in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, who would say that some guy from Montclair State, who's 37 years old, would be playing in a Pro Bowl, and if they keep going like this, could very well be in the NFC Championship game.
Isn't that the truth? Aikman's pass to Martin, who's open, gets into Carolina territory at the 47, stopped by Pat Terrell.
Yeah, if you look at Dallas's pass distribution, all their passes have been completed to wide receivers today. They haven't completed a pass to a tight end or a running back yet. Here's Kelvin Martin again. That's just a zone thing where you just go and you start up and you get a feeling and then you just stop.
Deion Sanders lines up split wide to the right this time. Darrell Johnston on the move. The handoff to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt gets across the 45, about the 44. Stopped by Carlton Bailey.
You know, one of the things with the running game of the Cowboys, they are not having success blocking the 2 inside linebackers of the Panthers. That would be Carlton Bailey. These 2 guys here, these are the 2 guys, if you're going to be able to run, you got to get them. Now, to get to them, you have to be able to get the nose tackle, Greg Cragen. But there always seems, by doubling the nose tackle, there's always a guy free. That time it was Carlton Bailey. But did they put a double team on Greg Cragen, didn't they?
He didn't see much daylight. Emmitt Smith again. Emmitt to the 41-yard line.
But that's part of the success of these linebackers like Sam Mills is that Greg Cragen just gets up there and as Sam Mills says, Greg Cragen will just occupy guys.
Well, nobody gets a clear shot at him.
No, because he'll take on 2. He lines up in that gap, and like he does, he takes on more double teams probably than any defensive lineman in the league.
And that's a tough way to make a living.
That's the bad news for Greg Cragen, but it's the good news for this guy right here, Sam Mills, because they can't get to him.
3 wide receivers. Deion Sanders split wide right. Aikman back to throw it. Pass is caught by Kevin Williams this time. Aikman right on the money.
Boy, is he on the money? He's been on the money this whole drive. I think that he feels it. I think he's feeling some urgency now and knowing that they're going to have to throw the ball. Here's Kevin Williams out here. Tyrone Poole has pretty good coverage. Look, he stays a little underneath. Just as he breaks, he falls down. and Aikman puts that ball in there perfectly. But here's just a four-man rush. Great protection here.
First down, Dallas at the 27-yard line of Carolina. Here's Aikman to throw it again. Here comes the blitz. Pass is caught by Daryl Johnston at about the 25.
Well, we even got the moose calls down here in Carolina, huh? That was the first reception by anyone other than a wide receiver so far for the Cowboys. But this Troy Aikman is really something with his
You know, I've never figured out the significance of pass distribution. If it's working, keep throwing it.
Yeah, you just keep doing it. But Troy Aikman is so accurate today.
Emmett Smith banging down inside the 15 to about the 12-yard line. The safety man, Pat Terrell, made the tackle.
Emmett Smith is just going to the sideline and just saying, keep running it to me. Here it is, the old I formation where he's the best, just running in here between Larry Allen and Eric Williams. Just getting there with the lead, just running to that side, get the double team, get the good lead, the turnout, and those guys create great big old holes.
You talk about the good lead. Daryl Johnston got the good lead.
That was a good lead.
Here's that oddball formation again. Walker comes out this time in motion. Aikman back to throw. The blitz is on, but the pass is caught by Bjornsson, the tight end.
I think that's what they're trying to do with it. I think they're trying to get the defense bunched and then put Herschel Walker in motion away and then get single coverage on the side here. See, Herschel Walker has gone that way, and then he's going to go to Bjornsson here because that made the defense move to their left, and then Bjornsson had a wide open spot on that right. But
second and 3.
Sure focused and accurate on this drive.
Two tight ends this time. Second and 3. Emmett Smith gets the carry, and Emmett's down to about the 2. Lamar Lathan made the stop.
Well, I think they found out something. If you have a big, strong offensive line, and you have on that right side, you have Larry Allen, you have Eric Williams, and you have Moose Johnston leading, you might as well just get in and run right behind it.
Well, now they're in that position you talked about earlier, John. They got first and goal at the 3. Now get in.
And you'll see the problem here. As you look that everyone bunches up against them. See all this bunch up in here. This is tough to run against because there's going to be 2 free men.
Smith close to the goal line.
And you see Andre Royal in there, number 58. In fact, they take out a corner and put Royal in, and he's a linebacker.
That's George Hageman, who just checked in. Where you saw him report he'll line up as one of the tight ends.
Well, what they were doing is they were running too much to Ty J. Armstrong. So they want to put in Hageman. Here's Ty J. Armstrong going to this side. They want to put in another guy and run to this side away from Ty J. Armstrong.
Ty J. is to the left. They go straight ahead to Emmett Smith, and he's not going to get in. He's hit by Lathan right at the line of scrimmage.
And like you say, they're still having the same problems that they have down in this area, and that's running because everyone's ganging up on them, and they're having more men than they have blockers. You see, they try and get back there in the lead, and here comes Lamar Lathan. Because Lamar Lathan is just sitting back there on that short yardage goal line defense. He's just sitting right here waiting for that cutback. He's not going to over-pursue it. That was very, very close to getting a face mask down there.
He was. Back at the 2-yard line. Third down now.
This has to be a pass.
Aikman throws from Daryl Johnston, who came down with the ball on a catch. Touchdown, Dallas.
I think they've finally figured out that when you get down there, you can't bunch it up and you can't run it in there, that this is the best way to do it.
Barry Switzer was signaling, let's go for 2. Johnston on the move. Aikman back to throw it. Incomplete.
So the Cowboys' 2-point conversion fails. But while Troy Aikman was getting treatment on the sideline for a strained calf, The Dallas defense quickly forced the Panthers to punt.
Snap goes over the head. The ball rolling into the end zone over the head of Stark, and Stark rolls out of the end zone with it. Safety for Dallas, so they got their 2 points.
Right, he was going to take the 2 points. Stark had a decision to make there. Do you let it go, or do you try and kick it? Now what he could have done there is he could have tried to kick that ball. But he decided, and I think smartly, to just get on the ball. Now it'll be a safety.
Mark Rodenhauser is the snapper. That went way over his head.
Well, yeah, he didn't even have a chance to jump on it. Now, he could have tried to pick it up and kick it, but that wouldn't have worked.
And after a safety, of course, the team that gives it up has to kick the ball away. So it's Dallas in possession again, trailing by 3 at their own 48.
Here's Aikman to throw it. Look right, through left, pass complete. Kevin Williams.
You know, I think there was a point in this game that Troy Aikman realized that, you know, with Michael Irvin out and all those things, if they're going to win, he's going to have to just start throwing the ball, and he's going to have to start throwing it like this to Kevin Williams. Even though there is good and tight coverage, he's going to have to get Kelvin Martin in there and throw it to him. He's going to have to take this game in his hands and win it. And he's capable of doing that.
He certainly is. 1st and 10. Aikman back to throw. Going deep for Kelvin Martin. Just missed him. Kelvin Martin has a lot of heart. He knows how to get open, but he doesn't have a lot of speed.
Yeah, you see, here's Kelvin Martin right here, and he's going to be running on Eric Davis here. Eric Davis looks a little lackadaisical because he did let Kelvin Martin get behind him. And that ball just been a little shorter, and Troy Aikman knows it. That would have been a touchdown. I think that Kelvin Martin caught Eric Davis napping because they didn't believe they'll never throw a deep one to Kelvin Martin.
Maybe he knows all those things we were talking about.
Can't run fast.
Darrell Johnston goes in motion and hand off to Emmett Smith, who's hit immediately by Les Miller. And Les made everything collapse again.
Yeah, well, that's what he does, and they tried to run a draw back into him. They, you know, they get the motion, and they only have one man in the backfield.
Aikman looking over the defense. 3 wide receivers.
This is where he likes to go to Kelvin Martin in this situation.
Protection's good. The pass is picked off. 2 men with the only man with a shot. Aikman. Chad Cota made the interception.
So instead of the Cowboys driving to level the game, the Panthers had a chance for another 7 points. With 13 seconds left, though, they narrowly missed it when Kerry Collins on the run threw behind Mark Carrier in the end zone. And that left just enough time to send on kicker John Casey.
24-yard field goal attempt by Casey is good.
Well, Drew, we got an interesting game. Momentum swinging both ways. It looked like Carolina had really taken it with that interception by Chad Cota, but Cowboys held them.
Yeah, well, they're doing what they like to do and what they do best, Carolina. They're playing good defense. They're keeping their opponent out of the end zone with touchdowns, and they're creating turnovers and turning those turnovers into points. So they're playing their game right now.
The loss of Michael Irvin is obviously huge for the Cowboys. How important, though, was that drive after the loss of Michael Irvin, where Aikman showed that he had confidence in the 2 Kevins?
Yeah, it was a big part of the Cowboys' psyche, because losing a player like Irvin, they say, oh no, what else can we deal with? Now we lose one of our star players, but it gives the team a lot of confidence, and Troy Aikman a lot of confidence when they can come back like that after losing a player such as Michael Irvin.
From a receiver's point of view, the Panthers seem to be going a lot to Willie Green, who's 6'4", against Kevin Smith, who's 5'11".
Yeah, I think that was part of their game plan, is to put the big receiver on the shorter cornerback, and it's been working. Willie Green's a pretty good receiver. He doesn't get a lot of publicity or a lot of coverage from the media, but he does the job out here, and you put him in his area, he'll make the catch. The Cowboys are going to have to make some adjustments at halftime, maybe bump those guys at the line of scrimmage so that they don't run free down the field.
Because the Panthers have a 6-point lead at halftime, and in the second half of the season, they've given up a field goal in the second half here at Ericsson Stadium. We'll have the second half after the break.
Quello che vuole, basta che firmi. Basta che firmi.
And it's all worked out beautifully for Ginola.
Have you seen my razor?
I think it's on the cabinet.
Okay. Whose is that?
It's nothing to do with me.
What do you think you're playing at?
It's not mine. Don't look at
I
me.
thought we told you to be careful.
John, I think we're the ones who should have been careful.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance.
If your family suddenly grows, so too will your responsibilities. That's why Allied Dunbar financial plans adapt, so you can face the unexpected.
Let's face the music and dance.
Allied Dunbar, for the life you don't yet know.
When you're looking for an epic night out, look for this sign, because where you looked for Access, now you'll find MasterCard.
Ça c'est profond. It's profound. How easily a man can travel directly from the center of London to the very center of Paris or Brussels. The raindrop, as you notice, always follows the path of least resistance.
I suppose I just got used to the noise at work. Didn't really bother me. Now it's all I ever hear. I feel like I'm in a world of my own.
We're going for a pint. Come on, get your stuff together.
Millions of people could have their health and their lives ruined by work. Employers could ease this unnecessary suffering by calling for a free HSE Good Health is Good Business Employer's Guide on 0345 181819.
Now then, time's running out on you if you want to be at Super Bowl 31 in New Orleans. There's just one pair of tickets left and 2 more weeks to win them. As well as seats for the game in the Superdome on January the 26th, they'll have a week to see the city. And failing that, there's still plenty of weekly prizes left. Our famed subject on Blitz this week was the only quarterback ever to win 4 Super Bowls, Pittsburgh's Terry Bradshaw. Now 2 of those victories came against the same team. Tell us which team, and you'll be in with a chance of winning those tickets. 0891 444 444 is the number, and here are your choices. The Vikings, the Cowboys, and the Rams. Back in Charlotte, the Panthers led the Cowboys 17-11 at half-time, and Dallas looked sloppy on their opening drive of the 3rd quarter. Emmitt Smith just fails to handle the pitch from Troy Aikman here, and 2 plays later, they had to punt.
Jet back to punt. His last one was a dandy. So is this one. Winslow, Oliver retreats, fumble. So much for that starting field position. The fumble, and the Cowboys have it. Darrell Johnston made the recovery. Aikman to throw it. Just gets rid of it. Does. Kevin Williams to the 5. Aikman was hit as he let it go.
Troy Aikman says before the game that he knew that he's going to have to take a lot of hits today. Because of these blitzes, there will be free guys. And he knows that he's going to have to stand in there and throw the ball. He didn't really have to take a hit on that one. That was his offensive line. They just didn't get the line block.
Aikman back to Emmitt Smith. Smith gets to about the 2.5. Greg Cragen met him there.
You know, one of the things that I think the Cowboys ought to consider now to get to score is to pass the ball. And I know that this is one thing that they've had success over the years, getting down inside the red zone, getting down inside the 5-yard line. They've had success running the ball, but it's getting tougher and tougher for them to run the ball. And I think that Ernie Zampese ought to think maybe sometimes throwing on 2nd down, not wait until 3rd down.
Emmitt Smith is the deep back. He gets the carry. And Emmitt won't get in.
You see, and they just gang up on that. It's the same thing, and they outman them down there now because they know they're going to run the ball. And if you just look at the defenses, and you just looked at the stacked defense, that everyone is in here playing run, and there's always going to be at least 2 free guys. Now, you watch, see, here's a free guy, here's a free guy. Both of them are free. There's no cutback, there's no hole, and there's no bounce out. That's perfect defense.
Sam Mills filled it up inside. He got help from the outside. 3rd and goal, the ball at the 3. Emmitt Smith goes in motion. There are no running backs. Aikman looking for some place to go. Aikman threw it away.
See, and that's the thing. Then they can't run on 2nd. Then they get in 3rd, and then the Panthers play pass, and then they just play right into their hand. Well, you think if they would have thrown on 1st or 2nd down, they may have a shot at it. But this has been the thing that has bothered the Cowboys all year, and it's been bothering. It's the same problem they have today. But you can't forget that that's pretty good Panther defense, too.
Chris Bonio has made 32 consecutive field goals, including postseason, including one today. He'll try from 21 yards. His first one was 22. Bonio is good again at 17-14.
The Panthers replied with a field goal of their own to restore their 6-point lead, then set off after Aikman, who was suffering without Michael Irvin to throw to. This pressure put an end to the Cowboys' next drive, and as we pick up the action, it's Carolina's ball after the punt at their own 28.
Anthony Johnson gets the carry and gets very little. But the clock is winding down in the 3rd quarter. Dallas defense has been out there a long time. Collins, the pass outside to Howard Griffith. And Swans had it covered in a hurry.
You know, but if you look at this Carolina team and the way they're made up, everyone says, you know, that they got a lot of advantages and draft choices and so on. And Jerry Richardson said
he doesn't think so.
He said we had to pay $140 million to get in. He said we only get 1/4 of the television money. He says we have a $14 million mortgage. And you look at how many free agents that these guys picked up. It's amazing. I mean, these are guys that anyone could have had.
He had those numbers ready, didn't he? Here's Collins. Pass is caught by Wesley Walls. And that should be enough for a first down. Bill Pates on the coverage.
You know, Wesley Walls is Kerry Collins' favorite receiver. That's only the 3rd time. Here's Wesley Walls. Watch that stance he gets in on passing that. He doesn't get in a 3-point stance like a tight end. He gets in a 2-point stance, runs a heck of a pattern, but Kerry Collins really got that ball in there. Wesley Walls is not only Kerry Collins' best receiver, he's also his best friend. I think Wesley Walls was smart. He said they roomed right next to each other in training camp, and that was one of the first things that he did when he got here.
Reverse coming. Ishmael on the reverse. Fred Strickland made the stop. Look how this team was built. This is just what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they got 19 free agents. And that's just, free agents that anyone could have gotten. They got 4 players off waivers that they just picked off waivers. And then, of course, the 13 unrestricted free agents. That's the kind that they had to recruit and, and compete for them. Guys like Wesley Walls and those kind of players. Then that in the draft, and they had a plan. They followed their plan, and their plan works. And I think it's made all the other owners in the National Football League less patient.
2nd and 3 at midfield. Jackson, first down to the 40 in Dallas territory. Stop.